be reviewing the book by John Maxwell, Attitude 101. I'm going to share my screen shortly. I just have a few slides. Okay, so the title of the book is Attitude 101. I do like the title. You know, some people say it is a very small book. You know, it's not one of those big books. It's very small, but it carries a lot, and it can change the direction, you know, of our lives. And really, what is attitude? We've heard the various quotes by Zig Ziglar. Says your attitude will determine your altitude. There's a debate around, is it attitude or is it aptitude? But as we go in, we'll unveil some gold, some nuggets from the book that we can apply to our lives. So I'll start with this quote from Viktor Frankl. He's someone, I read his books a lot, and he wrote a book, Man's Search for Meaning. Please, if you can, get the book and do read it. And he says, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. And so that space is there. That's the space where we determine our growth and our freedom. And attitude is very critical in doing this. Now, my own definition of attitude, I wanted to go into the dictionary and all of that, but I just didn't want it to be an academic exercise. I believe that attitude is the outer expression of our inner state. It's a potent combination of our thoughts, our beliefs, and it's enabled by our experiences. So a few things, you know, in this definition is an outward or outer expression, but of our inner state. That means that our attitude is a mirror of the way that we are internally. So that means if anyone wants to understand my state, my mental state or my spiritual state, you know, something that is not readily visible to all. By the time they you know, observe my attitude over a period of time, then they can have an insight into who I am, you know, on the inside. But really, like I said, it's about our thoughts, our beliefs, but it's also enabled, influenced by our experiences. And really, attitude is behavioral, is what people see. Now, I'd like us to do, I know I have just 20 minutes, but I'd like us to do this exercise. I'm sure we all have our pens and some form of paper with us. Just draw a line in the, you know, middle line on your paper. And on one side, think about people that you admire. On the other side, think about people you don't admire. But the real exercise is try to answer the question, why don't you admire them? And you list the attributes. Because you see, you don't admire somebody because they just have the finger or they're Mr. Robert or you know, that's not why. There's something, there's a manifestation, you've engaged with them in terms of their attitude. And that's why you can say you admire or you don't admire. And I'd like us, you know, to really do this exercise. The reason is because we need to take a cue and say, why do I admire this person? Now, on the other side, why don't I admire? Now, take a journey within, and you can complete it after the session. It's something, you know, let's say that Laterna leaves this exercise with us today. When we go back, let's look at those things and see where we stand. So when you say you admire someone, what attributes do they have? How do they behave? And attributes really is about your attitude. So understand that, and the people you don't admire, why? Not about judging those people. Put yourself in the middle, that line, and say, you know, what are my own attributes? What is my attitude? And the reason is so that we can deal with the things that you happen to share with the people that we happen to share with the people we don't admire. Those can be dealt with. And then we can work more to, you know, imbibe the things that are on the side of the people that we admire. And then we build, you know, our attitude. I believe that firstly, attitude is a choice. It is a choice. And when you go back to the quote by Viktor Frankl, he talks about the space between stimulus and response. That space is space for us to think, space for us to quickly reflect before we take an action, before we manifest, a particular behavioral trait. So it is a choice. And if there's something that we were blessed with at creation that God gave to man, it is the capacity to make choices. And, even God himself acknowledged this. When you read, for people very familiar with the Bible, when you read the story of the Tower of Babel, God acknowledged that these people he created, with this choice they've made and the unity they have, they will reach him. The people made a choice to build a tower to get to God. Now, the second thing is that it is energy. I always tell people where we exist in the universe, and it's all about vibrations and frequencies of energy. Now, what do I mean by that? The truth is that when we talk about emotions, emotion simply means energy in motion. And as we know, we are all a bundle of emotions. We're happy this moment, the next moment somebody says something, emotions have come in, we've switched, we're high, we're not feeling too happy and things like that. But and I'm sure we all know, I'm not science inclined, but I studied, being taught energy while growing up. I remember that energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed for it to be usable. And so if we say attitude is energy, that means that attitude can be worked on. It must continuously be transformed for us to be able to use it, and for it to be able to move us, for us to be able to move closer, to our purpose. That's the truth. You convert fear into energy, then it becomes, by the time you transform your fears into faith, it becomes power, and then you can use it, and you can use it to propel yourself forward. Now, attitude is a difference maker. So with regard to the energy, we need to always work on attitude. It's something we can work on. We continuously, transform it so that it's useful to us. Now, the next thing is a difference maker. Attitude is a difference maker. In the book, there's John Maxwell did refer to the story. He has a friend who used to drive this 18-cylinder truck cross country in the US. And he asked the guy that, how do you cope? This job is very stressful. And he told him, he said, while other people think they are going to work, I believe that I'm going for a ride. And that makes the difference between himself and every other person who would grumble, who will be angry, and just hate the job that they do. Now, attitude is a manifestation of who you are on the inside. We talked about this. Now, why is attitude important? The slide is a bit choked, but I needed to pass the message. And when you get to the book, you can see all of this. I've tried to own the material, but all of this is in the book. Now, the first thing is that attitude is the you that people interact with. It's not our spirits that people interact with. No. It's not even our soul. It's not our mind. It's our attitude that they really interact with. That's why I said it is behavioral. Now, it's also important because it is the impression we leave behind after we are long gone. Little wonder that, when somebody says, describe this person, the only way we describe is, oh, you know what? He's so caring. He helps to solve problems. And the reason why we can do that is because we've experienced it. So attitude is experiential, and it determines our success in life. No matter how much of God we know, no matter how much of the Bible we know, no matter how well a school, the exposure we have, our attitude, and that will determine our altitude eventually. Our attitude will either put a lid on our potential, or it will remove the lid on our potential. That's what it does. Now, attitude helps us to weather the storms of life. We're glad we're getting out of it gradually. There's hope. There's a silver lining. The COVID of last year, some people died not because they had COVID. But the attitude was one of fear, was one of, oh God, what's going to happen to me? Some people had even lost their jobs before they really, really lost it. And that is attitude. So when we say attitude is behavioral, I believe that everything is created twice. First, in your mind, in the mental state, and secondly, physically. But the mental state supersedes, the physical. That's what births the physical. And so our attitude is mental. That's the truth. And I believe we live in a mental age. The people who can have, understand and use their mental capacity and capability to the best levels are the people who will succeed in the present times that we live in. And it's also confirmed. The word of God also tells us, that. So this is not something outside God. Even God, everything God created, he created it first. And then he spoke it into being. Now, it helps us weather the storms of life. Back to what I was saying. The COVID situation met all of us at different points. And, for me, I just believe that adversity is the university of maturity. That was something that came to me when the COVID, hit. So when things come to us, it shapens our perspective. And I choose that choice. Don't forget that space between stimulus and response. I take charge of it. And I say that, I will respond in a positive manner. We use our attitudes without even speaking. You don't have to talk. Someone living with you without exchanging a word can either choose to be influenced by you or choose to, just, keep a huge distance from us, because it speaks. We can influence people through our attitude, especially when leadership positions, whether big or small, there's no leadership position that is small. That's the truth. And you know what? Even in our homes, we continue to influence. Everywhere we find ourselves, we're influencing, because the reason we have to influence is because there are limited resources. You want to use them. Take, for instance, in our teams, in the organizations we work for, or even in our own businesses. You want to be able to use those resources for the best decisions. And so you try to influence people to believe that, this, as you show them this is the way to go. Now, it enables us to fulfill our dreams and helps us to function well in our roles. That's what attitude does. It helps us to occupy the roles that either nature, God has bestowed on us, or even organizations have bestowed on us, whether we own or we are employed. Now, very critical is the fact that it opens and it also closes doors for us. I'm sure that we all know that when it comes to the issue of credit ratings, yes, we're still inching there in Nigeria, but we will get there. World. Attitude is key, because your credit history is important. And it's not, attitude also is about attitude towards money, attitude towards everything. It will open up collaboration opportunities for us, or it will close those opportunities. And of course, appointments. We've heard of stories in Nigeria where this woman, God rest her soul, Dora Akunyili, the story I know is that she had, settled her, I think, cash advance she was given in her ministry. She was working so well and returned money. And when it was time to appoint, a DG for NAFDAC, naturally, she came to mind. And I'm sure that a lot more people get things, because people have experienced them at one point or the other in life. Now, attitude is formed. That's the truth. We're not born with a particular type of attitude. And you can also check the book, all of this, in the book might not be in the way I'm saying it, but I've just owned the material. I'm more so that John Maxwell is, my mentor. But how is it formed? It's about our personalities. That's the truth. Some people are more outgoing than others. Some people are sanguine, choleric, melancholy. And if you want to use the DISC model, some people are more directive, some people are supportive, some people, they're compliant, they are influential. And so our personalities come to to play when we talk about our attitude. Our experiences, yes. The environment that we've grown up with or we work in, it's very important. And that's why we always say that your environment must enable you to grow. The word expression, what's the word of expression? It just simply means what we hear. So there's certain ages, and it's been proven that when we hear things at a particular age, you keep hearing those things, they become part of you. And the common example given is about money, that when we hear parents say, this thing is too expensive, this thing is, and then we have a different view about money and we carry it, on. But really our environment matters because it will, what we hear matters because it begins to grow and find root in us. Of course, role modeling is important. The information that we take in, what do we take in? We take in things that are vengeful. Some people, they specialize in watching movies that only deal with vengeance and things like that. Some people specialize in watching movies that deal with only, love, being taken care of, some form of redemption and things like that. And the things we read. I remember telling people during the COVID time, in my house, we had to put time for news. We were not going to swallow all of this thing. It was becoming, too much. So what information do we take in? Our inner circle. It's often, I think it was Jim Rohn that said, look, you would only ever be the average of the 5 people that you hang around the most. Who are you hanging around? The choices we make, the more we make our choices, initially we make our choices, but really at the end of the day, our choices now make us. So we make those choices, but what choice are we making? Very important. It forms us. Our beliefs, what beliefs do we carry? Some of us might carry self-limiting beliefs. And when I even talk about beliefs now, yes, belief in God, very important, number one, not negotiable. Now, the second thing is the beliefs that we now carry. What are the things that take up real estate in our minds? I call them real estate because there are times some beliefs, they build skyscrapers in our minds. And when we look at how do we, bring down the skyscraper where we feel weak already. What are the thoughts? What are the beliefs that have taken up, a mental real estate in us? It's very important. The culture that we find ourselves in, very, very important. Our background, I think I've talked about this. Then our peers, the friends we have. The reason why I put peers and associations here is because we're easily influenced by them. We influence them. Now, when you look at all those things about how attitude is formed, I don't think it's more than 3 things that are internal to us, that we have a full locus of control over. The bulk of them are external. And so we must continuously have that sieve, what really makes it up. I've talked about, our thoughts and our beliefs, and that's what it is. The way we feel, our behaviors, our behaviors, the way we think. Are there things we think the way we think and the thoughts that come to us that we're not comfortable about? We need to identify them. I've found that when you can identify something, almost call it by name, then it's easy for you to deal with it. So we must do this. Evaluate our present attitude in terms of our feelings, our behavior, the way we think, the language that we use. Language is powerful. And that's why I talk about the word expressed when I was talking about how it is formed. Now, you need to secure commitment from yourself. There's no point doing the evaluation of your present attitude when you know that, hey, you're not really ready to commit to making any changes. Now, you must secure a commitment from yourself. I have one of my mentors will say, what is discipline? He says discipline is giving yourself a command and obeying it. And that's what we must do here. Secure commitment from yourself that yes, it's time to work on those things. Like I said, not because they are bad. Yes, some are bad. We need to work on them. But some that are good, we can get better at them. Now, it's important for us to have a sense of purpose. Why are you? It's not really about who are you. Why? What is your why? What is our why? Very important, because that why will keep us centered. The why will keep us focused even when things around us are not going well. Our why keeps our it just keeps everything in us focused on where we are going. And the truth is that it's about, this attitude thing is about finding out whether, or asking the question, are my habits, in harmony with where I am going? Are my habits in harmony with the person that I want to become? And I'm sure that you know that if we all, and I'm asking myself the same question too, so it's not only the audience, if we cannot answer it, in the affirmative, even for the people that can answer in the affirmative, we need to keep working, on it. So a statement of purpose is important. Desire to change. So I think really the first thing, even before you evaluate your present attitude, is the desire. Desire is also another energy, and it's an energy that comes with a lot of vibration. And so we must have that strong desire to change. And if we've done all of this, I think the most important thing is, are we going to take action? So there are times we do all of this and we just leave it there because, hey, this thing, I cannot be waking up at this time. I cannot be reading a book, every day. I cannot be doing this. I'm too busy. Busy. There's something we have in the John Maxwell team. We call it the 15-minute miracle. What it does is that when you tell yourself you're too busy, you have a chat every 15 minutes. You note down what you've done. And then at the end of the day, you add up the ones that matter, the things that matter that you've done, and the things that didn't matter that you've done. And you can now tell yourself, okay, do I really have time or not? And so taking action is, you can take mental action and it can be physical action. The mental action will be about, we all, including myself, all of us need to kill the limiting beliefs. I know it's usually said that, women have, and I should celebrate every woman on this platform today. I know it's past, but I still want to wish all of us happy International Women's Day. It's every day for us, and I'm not trying to be gender racist here. It's been said a lot that women carry this thing about the impostor syndrome. But it's not only women. It is common to every creation of God. That's the truth. That voice that kind of first tells you. Now, maybe men are quick to recover much more than women. Maybe that's the difference. But it's present. I've coached men, women, and it's there. And so it's about naming that thing and deciding to deal with it. Whenever you have the self-limiting beliefs that you can't do, it's not possible, practicing self-accelerating beliefs. When you say, I can't, you change it to I can't. I won't, I will. I shouldn't, I shouldn't because maybe I don't have time. You say, I should because I can create the time and things like that. And then we develop good habits. Those are some ways we can, change our attitudes or fortify them. In the book, he talks about it talks about adversity. And I've just put it in here. You can read a bit more about the law of pain in John Maxwell's 15 laws of growth. Fantastic. And I'm sure that it's available in Laterna too. Now, it's just simply saying that, look, at times, the environment we find ourselves and the situation we find ourselves, we use them as excuses for our bad behavior, or excuses for not moving, excuses for remaining, rooted in a particular. But the law of pain just says that, manage your pain, convert it, to power for yourself. Make that pain work for you. Don't go through the pain in vain. Make it work. And that's where we talk about, it builds resilience. It's too hard. I can't have a positive attitude towards this thing. This person has wronged me. I can do this. I can do that. But you know what? That particular situation is sharpening all of us. It's sharpening you. It's going to help build resilience. I know I mentioned the fact that, adversity is the university of maturity. And if there's nothing we learned from COVID, that's something we all learned. We all grew up. Even my last daughter, she's grown. I don't make food for her anymore because I'm still working from home. I went to the office first time last week, just once. I'm still working from home. We've been together. Everybody has had to grow up. And so that's what adversity can do for our attitude. It builds us. It helps us build resilience. It helps us mature. It opens opportunities. I'm sure we've heard this, that in Mandarin, in the Mandarin symbols, you have the same symbol for crisis that you have for opportunity. So for the Chinese person, for the person who speaks Mandarin, they don't see a difference between, it's the same symbol, and you know their language is in symbols, that represents crisis and opportunity. So if you some form of crisis or you need to scale through some hurdles. And of course, pain can birth innovation. It's not an excuse for us to sit and not sharpen or get better in terms of our art. Now, these are just some traits of attitude, character, some people call it. Of course, we know integrity is key, very important. We must be people of integrity. Even within us, and integrity is not about how you behave towards someone outside. It starts from home. It's like charity that starts from home. Respect. Respect begets respect. It's not about because someone occupies the mere fact that somebody is a human being, they deserve respect. Whether that person is the least person in the organization by level, it's about respect. That is a great attitude. Courage. Courage in the face of adversity. That's a trait of a great attitude. The ability to keep moving regardless of what is happening around us, because there's a purpose and we have a why. Trust. Trust, it's called the law of solid ground. If you ever read also John Mark 21, irrefutable laws of leadership. Yeah. The law of the solid ground is the law of trust. People to be able to trust you. And it works with integrity. They're like twins. A trait of great attitude. A great attitude adds and creates value. It doesn't erode value. Wherever you find yourself, you're adding value. Adding value is about, okay, you met something good, you make it better. Now, you can also create value by being fully innovative and bringing something new to the place, but it's about creating value. Trait of a great attitude, gratitude. Well, we often talk about the attitude of gratitude. With human beings, we tend to look at what we don't have. We focus. I remember changing jobs years ago, my first job, when my dad called me and said, "How's your new job?" I said, "Daddy, it's going on well." I said, "But I found out that it's the same vehicle, only the driver changed." My father laughed. He said, "What do I mean?" And what do I mean is, you look for the things you don't have and forget the good things you have here. And if you change jobs, you know what I'm talking about. So we forget about the fact that, the grass is not green on the other side. The grass is green where it's watered. So let us develop an attitude of gratitude. We must be, a great attitude is positive most of the time. And I tell people it's okay not to be okay. It's not every day we wake up, even if you read your Bible every minute and all of that. It's not every day we wake up and you just want to jump and run. But it's a fact that you can remind yourself and lift yourself that your mental attitude is that I have a focus and I'm going to make it work. Great attitude understands emotional intelligence, and simply is about, how does this impact Mr. B? How does it impact Mrs. B? It's not about being selfish, but understanding myself enough to give value to other people. We talked about influence. It's about self-awareness, because the truth is, your attitude reflects the self-image you have about yourself. That's the truth. Now, becoming a great leader, and like I said, leadership is not about the positions that we hold. Attitude is key. Now, what will we all do from today that will move us closer to who we want to be? And that will enable our actions, our habits, our beliefs, our thoughts to be in harmony with that person we want to be, or where we want, to go to. And, John Maxwell talks about the future with the right attitude. He talks about that attitude also can be the way, a poor attitude can stem from the way that we see failure. I always tell people, I don't believe that failure is the opposite of success. No. It might be like that in English language, but I believe that failure is part of the success continuum. Ask the great, all these people that they rank, richest, and even ask Mother Teresa, who's late now. She was a great woman, but they would tell you how they failed. Successful people in business, they failed. But I read a book, The Alchemist. If you can, please also read the book. It's by Simon Leo, if I remember the author's name. And it says that the mystery of life is in falling 7 times, but the mystery is not in the fall, but in rising 8 times. So what is our attitude towards failure? Is it that it beats us down and we remain there? We need to, understand it's temporary. It's part of the process of success. Let's focus on our strengths while we build. I don't like to call it weaknesses. I like to call it, our opportunities for improvement. It's about bouncing back. I always say that, my setback moments have been my greatest comeback moments. And that's the truth. Because I look at it, yes, difficult when you face it, but look, you just know that there's something bigger and you move on, you don't brood. Yes, you can be sad for a little while, but you jump onto the next thing and know that there's something greater, in front, and that this is only temporary. And that is bouncing back is always rising the 8th time when we have fallen the 7th time. It's about continuous improvement. We're like this today. How do we get better tomorrow? In our work, the skills we have, are we learning, more skills? Are we adapting are we self-adapting so that we don't self-destruct? Very important. And this comes with, getting more skills, getting better, and just getting more knowledge and being open-minded. I always tell people, we're only alive, the past is dead. We're not even yet alive in the future. We are only alive in our present. So why do we remain in a place that is dead? The past is dead. We only give life to it. Why are we breathing life into it when we can breathe life in our present so that we can birth, our future? So let me round up. I think this is the last grade. This is the last slide. I call it the lens of character, and really it's about the lens of attitude. There are 3 lines, and it's about, not in the book anyway, but just go with me. There are 3 lines that we would ever navigate as we grow in life. As we become, as we do, because it's about we're called to be, to do, and to have. So as we pass those 3 phases, there are these 3 lines that we would shoot. And the first one is the line of effort. The second one is the line of courage. The last one is the line of faith. I've done a teaching about this elsewhere, but let's start with the line of effort. The line of effort is a danger zone. It is our comfort zone. This is a zone where nothing happens. There's no thinking going on. We're just living by the day. We're surviving. There's no intentionality that is brought to life here. And you know what happens at the line of effort? It has an impact on the way you see God. At the line of effort, people see God as a wicked God because they're not doing what they need to do to move in the direction that they should. Because nothing happens, no innovation happens, no thinking happens, and they're bitter. At the line of effort, we're bitter because we see other people moving and we're not. And it's coming back to our mental attitude. We're not moving at the line of effort, we're there. We all start from the line of effort. Now we move to the line of courage. The people who are courageous enough, who find their voices, who believe there's more to them, and they do all those exercises of, okay, I list what's my vision, what do I want to be, my purpose, and all of that. Those things propel people to the line of courage. Now, the line of courage you are getting is the place where I talk about success. The line of effort is survival. And I also talk about those 3 stages: survival, success, and significance. When we get to the line of courage, we've recorded some level of success. We're good. whether you have a good job, you have a business is doing well, your children are doing well, everything is happening. Even if you're single, you are doing well. But the danger here is that the line of courage is a place we shouldn't stay for too long. Because if we stay there for too long, we can either get pushed, we will get pushed back to the line of courage. And so at the line of courage, you're doing things, you're acquiring skills, you're getting better. Now, the more you do this, the more you find that there's a yearning in you. Here, you're working on attitude, you're trying to be the best and you're giving value. But there's something more, because that's the way that as human beings we've been, God has made us to yearn for more. And so when you move from the line of courage, and here you begin to see God as that God, and it also affects the way we see God, the way we see our finances, the way we see our physical composition as a person. It affects everything. That's why I call it the lens. Now, when you push away up from the line of courage, then you get to the line of faith. This is the place of significance, where it's not so much about you, not because you don't believe in yourself, but because you're concentrating more on other people. You are now a catalyst enabling other people, to grow, to become, to do. So I think that's it for me. And I think, the thing about these 3 lines is that our attitude will make all the difference. Our attitude will help us exit the line of effort into the line of courage and then into the line of faith. Thank you very much. Thank you. I know I've taken time. Thank you for allowing me come into our homes a lot, or into our offices this afternoon. Thank you so much to the Laterna team for having me. Thank you.